the author of White Fragility, accused of plagiarizing persons of color, professors. What's this about? I'll tell you, author Robin DiAngelo's 2018 book, White Fragility, Why It's So Hard for White People to Talk About Racism, was an immediate bestseller. She may have missed a few of the lessons in her book. She didn't really profit from people of color, did she? According to a recent complaint that goes something like this, filed with the University of Washington, DiAngelo plagiarized minorities in her 2004 doctorate thesis. According to the Washington Free Beacon, DiAngelo's 2004 dissertation entitled Whiteness in Racial Dialogue, a Discourse Analysis, allegedly contains 2 paragraphs that were stolen from Asian American professor Thomas Nakayama and his co-author, Robert Krizek. Candace Duffy, our friend there from The Root with the reporting. Nakayama and Krizek in DiAngelo's her book were not properly credited. DiAngelo was also accused of plagiarizing another Asian American professor, Stacy Lee. Here they are, side by side. So let's take a look and see how serious is this. Well, let's see.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
Goldberg, 1993, argues that the questions surrounding racial discourse should focus not so much on how true stereotypes are, but now the truth claims they are a part of the larger worldview. Part of the larger worldview. True stereotypes are. Yep. You can see the side by side. Excellent work, team. It appears that this is, at its best, an oversight, a mistake, and not properly crediting, and at its worst, more dishonesty. Ironically, DiAngelo's website contains an accountability statement in which she insists that the work of people of color must always be cited if they have informed your thinking. I agree. Since her best-selling book's release, she has enjoyed a career as a diversity consultant who encourages white people to confront their inherent racial biases. Because that's the work she's in. It's the line of work she's in. Yes, I hate to believe that people who embark on this kind of important, structured work and do a deep dive, particularly when they're talking about themselves too. I don't want to believe that they are fraudulent, fake, or just in it for the money. And I'm not sure I believe that about her, but it's been called out. How should we react? How serious, I guess it's an unfair question, is it, do you think?
I think plagiarism itself is very serious, but this whole author and the book, there has been controversy surrounding this book since it became a New York Times bestseller. And with things like this, when a white woman has enriched herself now off of issues pertaining to the Black community or any minority community or disenfranchised group, you have to wonder whether or not they're authentic in their desire to raise awareness on certain topics, or if they are attempting to deliberately capitalize on something that doesn't concern them, or even worse, if they're attempting to capitalize on someone else's work. And let's be real, sometimes a message is better received by certain groups when that message is delivered by someone who looks and sounds like them. That's understandable. I think you can say that about any group, not just white people. A message, however, about white fragility does tend to be better received by white people when it comes from one of their own. If it came from me or you, for instance, it would just sound like we're lecturing them and that we don't really understand where they're coming from. But this author and this book, as I said, has been surrounded by controversy, especially because it came about in the aftermath of the George Floyd protests and things like that. And people were concerned that, this woman is talking about issues pertaining to the Black and minority communities. Is she the right person to be doing this? I thought there were some good points in the book. I didn't read the book, but from what I did see of it, she did make some good points. But as far as plagiarism goes, I think plagiarism is very, very tricky and very, very serious, right? I think that it should be handled delicately because it is so serious. And what you see in issues like this one is, people obviously want to be credited for the work that they have done, for the careers that they have built. And it's difficult to see someone who has seemingly plagiarize your work, and they are getting all the acclaim, they're getting all of the job opportunities, they're getting all the money based on work that you did. Plagiarism is very easy to avoid, right? I sometimes mistakes happen, sometimes things are overlooked,
Yeah.
but overall, just credit the people appropriately. There
Yeah.
are ways to cite things. Every English student knows how to cite things properly, how to cite the sources, and just do that much. All of these people want is credit, and they want recognition for the work that they have done, and they don't want somebody else taking their work and claiming that it's theirs. And I think this author, she could very easily get around a lot of these claims and say, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't cite that properly or whatever, and then deal with it with those authors, however they want to deal with it, really.
Yeah, and I think you raise a good point because the media also, the global mainstream media, tends to get so excited in cases where, well, like this, a white woman calls out white people when there have been people of color, as you alluded to, doing this for probably centuries. Okay. But it's a special, unique thing. And I would submit to you, it helped make her a bestseller. And I'm not diminishing her work. I'm just saying that the reaction to it, it's very hard, yes, as you said, to swallow when you've been in this line of work and suddenly a white woman says, "Oh, I found the answer and I'm delivering for you this gem." And the crowd goes crazy. So that's a point well taken.